right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I've been told by Ashley that I can't do the Are You Ready to Gag intro, so much so that she has objected to being here today and is on strike until I stop doing it. So I'm not going to ask anyone here if you're ready to gag. I'm just going to presume that you are. And
Jeff, can I ask you a question?
Yes, go right ahead, Stephen.
Are you ready to gag?
I hope so. I have a disturbing amount of notes. I have multiple Google documents up, several pages on the internet open with all sorts of details about gagging. Most of them are not relevant to this stream, but nonetheless, here we are.
Making a lot of doodles lately.
I was thinking about making all sorts of gagging jokes back in LA when you guys were messing around with the mouse and stuff, like there's little small mouse and the big mouse. But I know that Ashley hates it, so I'm like, I'd be a dick if I kept doing it. So I didn't do it. I really wanted to make so many gagging jokes. It was ridiculous. Anyhow, hey, we're back. And we're playing some more Eternal Lies, continuing our campaign of this. We're in Mexico City still. And boy, let's talk about the last 48 hours, folks, because you all have been in Mexico City for 48 MF hours. And right off the bat, you go out, you have a nice couple of drinks, you listen to some music Sunday night. What could possibly go wrong? Then you find two dead bodies in some random apartment that you break into, and you get yourselves all covered in the blood of those dead bodies. Then you have to scatter from police, some of you getting lost in the process, others deciding to take nectar, and then, accost people on their way back to the hotel. Eventually, you make it back to the hotel, and then the next day, you go out to a federal post office, break into a private post office box. You did. Not all of you. This is collective, Stephen. This is collective.
I'm law-abiding is all I'm saying.
Then you guys went over to another site and broke onto the site of a suspected arson case and started screwing around on that site. Then you broke into Lou's Records office. Then you went to we already did Nova Records. Then you went to Estudio del Mañana. Got a gun pointed at you by a guy who was clearly deranged. Then you all split up. Three of you went to a delightful, quaint Coyoacan neighborhood, little suburb, and just a couple of you got shot. Drove a couple cars onto the street, smashed one car into a house. Stuff like that. Another person wandered about the neighborhood in the streets, covered in blood. Trying to get help, trying to be like, hey, do y'all know where this hotel is? Stuff like that. Stole a car, fled from the police. Let's see. Like Patrick's seeing weird birds up in the sky and stuff like that. And then Pastor Wood, probably strangely enough, the worst of it, just being an old man, just being an old grumpy man and not letting this this cousin, who he hasn't seen in like 20 years, just telling her what to do with her life. And then yeah.
The worst of it?
Yeah. I said it's not the worst of it.
I thought you said it probably was the worst of it.
That's the first 48 hours that you all have been in Mexico City.
Say it like that.
The first 48 hours. You all even go to sleep for the second night in Mexico City. So,
I love that the deranged guy with the gun in Estudio del Mañana. We told him that we would protect him and then promptly just bought him a cab to nowhere.
Bought him a cab and said he's going to a hotel somewhere. You didn't look into where that hotel would be. You didn't say any details about it. You just sent him off, and that's that. For me to do it as I please.
Did you? We did protect him because we went to his house and Bev and I took the bullets that were intended for him. So, I mean, he really owes us a thank you and like a bottle of mezcal.
That's fair. That's fair. If you could ever locate where he is, because you told the driver of the taxi to just take him to a hotel.
We picked the hotel. We got the name of the hotel.
But you didn't make sure he checked in. You didn't follow up. You didn't do any of these types of things. So who knows? He's probably, he's clearly
since we put him in the cab.
I don't think he's important to the investigation
mentioned.
Anymore. I think we're just going to write him off.
He served his purpose.
Before stream, I was thinking like we really need to make sure that we get that guy his house key back because like Marie has the key to his house. We want to like courier that over to him or something so he can like get back home and clean up the blood maybe.
Not only that, but you all have radically put out the staff of this hotel that you're in, Casa de los Sueños. Like they have covered for you. They have got you a doctor from the neighborhood. There are 2 people with gunshot wounds. Like one after the other. Like Marie was bad enough, but then right as Marie's finishing up her surgery, in walks the second, spouting blood left and right. Anyhow.
I mean, pastors like hitting on them and like all sorts of things. Like
just drunken American
hospitality.
Pastor.
No. One night he's being accosted by Pastor Wood. The other night he is cleaning up blood off the floor and trying to not look you all in the eye. That's effectively, I listened to the scene. That's what it was, effectively. So anyhow, it's been an eventful 48 hours here in Mexico City. As we talked about, Bev and Shaima and Marie were attacked. And everyone made it out effectively alive. But your luck, I think some of you went very far down on luck. So if you haven't rolled your luck at the start of the session, go ahead and do that. Shaima managed to rescue Bev, got Bev out of harm's way with what looked like some help from this mystery man in this green 2-door that has been not necessarily following you guys around, but certainly going to some of the same locations that you all have been investigating. All while that was happening, well, Patrick and Pastor were doing tequila shots with Elena Alcatruz, one of Pastor's wife's cousins, and you were learning more about Jonathan Brooks. Elena Alcatruz called him a fake, saying he latched on to people with talent like Leticia de la Luz and Victor for his production and everything. Pastor kept trying to drive home that Jonathan Brooks was a bad man and that the Javier Luna and all their bandmates were bad men. Eventually, like, Elena came around and agreed that Brooks was bad, but she continued to defend the band, partly because she's dating, much to the chagrin of Pastor Wood, the drummer of Javier Luna and his Grinning Fools, named Hernando. And so you all, the 2 of you, were basically drinking, and eventually she invited you tomorrow night, if you guys can make it, to a meeting that she was having with Javier and with Hernando, because she can go over a few songs. So little things like that here and there. What else happened? And eventually you all made it back to the hotel. Eventually you all got some healing from a very friendly doctor who didn't ask too many questions, apparently. So we're going to pick up. Did anyone have any business that they wanted to do at the end of the night, or are we free to skip towards the morning of day 3?
Marie's a little busy undergoing hospital room or hotel room surgery, so I don't think there's anything she's going to be doing.
I kind of do have something I'd like to do.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's a little disruptive, though, so maybe I'm going to say it. Pastor Wood would like to go find the nectar that Marie confiscated from him.
While she has been suffering
Taking a bullet.
Yeah, we're in her room. I'll say this.
Where did we put that? Where?
You just said you were putting it in your room. You did not say specifically.
What I'll say is, this one was saying, let's do some rolls. So Marie, go ahead and roll for me you can do, I would say, sleight of hand or stealth, whichever you prefer, and that's going to be contested by Pastor Wood's spot hidden. So Marie, yours is basically like back when you hit it, and Pastor Wood, you're going to try to look for it now as you are
Jeff,
in this room.
Sent you a message.
Uh-oh.
That is pertinent to this particular thing that Pastor's doing.
Fair enough.
She consumed it, also can't find it.
Okay.
She didn't share? How unfair.
So Pastor, how'd you do on that roll?
I rolled a 35 under 89 spot hidden.
Okay.
I might be able to spend some luck. I need a 7. No, I would need a 17. I'm not spending that much luck. Never mind.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. while you're in this room with the doctor, or I will say the doctor leaves because the doctor went into Bev's room because Bev was also, she also came back. And so while it's just you in here and Marie is, we'll say, sleeping off the damages of the day because she took 2 shots, whereas Bev only took the 1. Pastor, you take this opportunity to start going through her things. So Marie, what are some things that Pastor finds? Like, is there anything interesting in terms of like that maybe Marie hasn't revealed, stuff that she might carry, or something in her bag or something in her luggage? Is there anything that he might come across that is sort of noteworthy, other than the usual like clothes and whatnot?
I can't think of anything on the spot in particular. I would say that Marie is very good at packing. So like you think that you found like all of the clothes and shoes that you possibly would have found on her. And it's sort of a little bit like Mary Poppins' bag where you keep like trying to go through things and it's just, you know, like the magician's handkerchief, like things just keep getting like there's, you know, dresses in shoes and all kinds of sorts of things. So you think like this isn't going to take you very long. And before you know it, you just have this like enormous pile of like dresses and shoes and all kinds of things. And yeah, that's what you
And the really sad thing, Pastor Wood, is that you don't find the vial of nectar anywhere in the room.
Fair enough. I shove all the dresses and tied handkerchiefs back into the bag just haphazardly because who knows how to fold that shit. And leave it there.
Okay. Anybody else have any other business that they wanted to finish that night?
Yeah, it's mostly getting filled in the situation with Shima. Just talking it over the night.
Okay, so we can say that the two of you, like maybe you're out in the hall outside of Bev's room while the doctor is kind of tending to her, or maybe you're even in the room. We'll say that the two of you, if you're okay with this, Shima, like you fill each other in on each other's adventures. Okay.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, Patrick, nothing is held back. Specifically, she's making note of that green car showing up, and like we thought it was going to be malicious, but it turned out to feel like it was an ally, which was odd. And she does specifically make note of that.
Then we can sleep on it since we know they're okay for the night.
Okay. At some point, the doctor will come out. He will kind of fill you in as best he can on the condition. He'll say something along the lines of, you know, Bev has a kind of a fractured rib, and whatever the 1936 language equivalent of a concussion might be, a terrible head injury, you can see, and that his recommendation is that she not do any kind of physical exertion, and that she also at some point go to a hospital. She's going to need medication probably for pain. And he essentially says the same thing about Marie. And since the two of you aren't actively looking for drugs, he'll say he's the two of you are who he's talking to. And so he'll as best he can, and he speaks pretty good English when push comes to shove. And he just says that he warns you, like, they're gunshots. This is serious. Clearly, someone meant these to harm you. If you're in trouble, you should speak with the police before there's an injury they suffer that I cannot heal.
I'll take his advice. Thank him for it. If he needs anything from us.
Well, he's waiting for payment.
Right. How much will it be?
Roll a credit rating test there, Patrick.
Okay. I've got 40.
Okay.
I rolled a 99. That's a crit fail.
Okay.
Oh no.
So here's what we're saying. The amount of money that he asked for is going to dip into your cash on hand. So you have a daily spending level of about $10 before anything bad's happened, and you have kind of like a cash of about 80. So let's say because he tended to 2 people, we're going to dip into that cash. So let's say reduce or add up your spent on your sheet so that you're kind of dipping into your cash like an extra $20, basically. Because he literally just saved their lives. 2 people.
Yeah, I'm reaching in my pockets, pulling out whatever I can find, going back to my room, rummaging through luggage. That's all I got.
You just kind of pile various bills and coins, whatever you have, into, and he's not, obviously he's not being like greedy about it. He's like, I'm going to go put the bullet back in. But like, I would say
being more thankful and like
exactly
all I have.
And then also the idea of like keeping him quiet too, right? Like, do you two say that to him? Do you tell him to like keep it quiet? Because he's like, clearly he's aware. Like, there's gunshots, there's blood, there's a woman got dropped off at the hotel. They came and frantically got them. Like, do you give him a story?
I'm implying it with the amount of money I'm giving him.
Okay. Do you say anything in addition to this, Shaima? Do you do anything to help?
No, I think Shaima is honestly incredibly naive, and like it does not occur to her to say like be cagey about this.
Okay. So Patrick, you give over probably more, a decent chunk of your own money. You dig into most of you, like the amount of money maybe you tucked away for your entire stay here, like for your entire time. Like maybe you squared away like maybe 2 weeks worth of money, and at least half of that you burned through. Just trying to buy them out because you don't want to go through Bev's things. Like, what kind of person goes through the things of somebody who is laying there dying and bleeding? Like, what kind of person does that? So like, that's not Patrick. So
what kind of person indeed?
That's not a good Christian.
I was trying to find something I already owned that was stolen from me unfairly.
Really? You owned it. It's interesting. You're not in this scene, so back up. Okay.
And Marie's asleep, but still somehow talking smack.
Eventually, you all turn to your beds. It's a probably a strenuous night for everybody, because some of you are in pain, some of you are probably a little bit nervous. Like, you're all in the same row, but we'll say that no further craziness transpires in the night. And in the morning, all of you wake. We'll say that when Bev wakes, she's like, once or twice she tries to get up, but you can see first she winces at the pain in her ribs, and then as she tries to get up out of the bed, like, she gets all woozy as that huge welt on her head kind of causes some balance issues, and she just sort of flops back down into the bed at that point. And she just says, maybe I should take a little bit more rest, some more time. And so she'll just kind of do some bed rest for the day. So the rest of you, Marie, you're in a great deal of pain as well. You haven't taken the head wound that she has, but you have also taken 2 shots, so you're probably in a great deal of pain as well. Where do we see the 4 of you? Or the 5 if you want to be in Bev's room? And what's the plan for today?
I think to leave bed to have Bev to have bed rest, and I think we'll probably meet in Marie's room to figure out what we're doing for the day. Because the evening, I think have tentatively to meet Elena and Javier and them. Is that fair?
Definitely want to do that in the evening. Throughout the day, Pastor Wood would like to do some research. Unfortunately, our main researcher is out of commission, so I suppose I'll try to do some.
I will help.
You'll probably be the go-to then, because Pastor Wood, this is not his forte. He wants to do some research into Merida. Elena brought it up, and we have the postcard, and he's seeing a couple connections. He just wants to try to figure out more about it. So, like, going to a local library or college or anything.
That's something that Chama can definitely help with.
Okay. That's fine. So that shouldn't be two issues. I believe it's Tuesday. So it shouldn't be an issue for you all finding some place to do this. So the two of you are planning just a basic trip to a library. That's fine. What about you, Patrick? Are you coming along? Is there different tasks that you have?
Marie's room right now, and I noticed the matchbook on the nightstand. I'll talk to her about it. This is what you're looking for.
Oh, I very much hope that will bring us some clues or something. I was reaching in a glass vase when I was shot. And she gives this very dramatic explanation to you, since you weren't there, of the story of sort of how she got shot and how Bev got shot and just the whole thing. And she's very distressed by this. And it's not that I'm any stranger to being around weapons and all of that, but I never actually thought that I would get shot, and not once but twice. The pain, Patrick, it's just so painful.
I know you feel. You're lucky to be alive.
You've been shot?
Multiple times in LA.
Oh yes, that's right. It's quite... I prefer not to have this happen again. This is not... Oh, but yes, the matchbook, yes. Leticia's apartment address, I believe that's what is on there. I can't quite reach for it, but yes, take a look.
Okay, so you grab this matchbook, and you, Marie, recognize it. You have clear memory issues between the time in which you chased after, went outside to try to help Shaima, and the time that you found yourself back at the hotel. And you have like flashes of these things. You seem to recall at some point you must have picked it up, and you recalled some neighbor helping you. You recall some motorist helping you. You recall getting kind of dropped out on the sidewalk outside the hotel. And so you have like no clear recollection of how you came to have it, but you nonetheless have it. And it is covered in, you would presume, your own blood. But nonetheless, it does have the name of Leticia de la Luz. And Patrick, you do see that there is an address that you have not acquired thus far. And it is not that far away. A lot of this stuff seems to be happening within the Coyoacán district. So like this artsy neighborhood. And it does seem like this is kind of on the outskirts. It's not like Victor Cortez's like bungalow residence. This is more kind of an apartment building, you think, judging from the address, as it looks like it's going to direct you a little bit more to the interior sections of the district. So you do have what Victor Cortez at least believed was the address for Leticia de la Luz.
Well, this is what I want to look into, Marie. I don't know if you're up for it.
If we're just going to stake out the apartment, it might take me a while to get down the stairs, but I think I could just stay in the car, because we really can just stake something out while staying inside the vehicle and watching. We don't have to say that we're going to stake something out and then go inside, right? Right? We can just remain in the vehicle and stake something out.
Of course, but I've heard word that Leticia's could be in danger, so if I see something, can't make any promises.
You are right. Yes, it does appear that her safety may very well be in danger. Yes, this would be wise to do. I apologize. I will definitely hold you back if anything occurs, but I can, if you would give me a hand, I think I can get up and get downstairs.
I'll put your car.
Okay.
Or a cab, I guess. We don't have a car.
Okay. Yeah, you don't. I don't think you ever rented one. You've been taking taxis or walking places. Okay, so the four of you head downstairs. You leave Bev. Maybe she picks up one of her books that she's brought with her and starts studying that as best she can in her state. And we will say that the four of you head off in separate directions. Pastor Wood and Shaima going to do some basic background research on Merida, and then Patrick and Marie limping in this horrific state and looking absolutely terrible, getting looks from the staff as you walk down the stairs, as you walk through the courtyard, as you pass by the front desk and go out onto the street, like they're looking at you. And some of these people saw you last night in a horrific state, and here you are walking out, head held high. We'll start with Pastor Wood and Shaima. It's not too difficult for you to find a local library of some kind to start looking through some papers. So let's go ahead, and I want 2 rolls. Pastor Wood, give me a Spanish roll, and then Shaima, give me a library use roll. As some of the stuff I'm sure you find is in English, some of the stuff is not. We'll go from there. Oh dear.
Critical fail with 100.
We have rolled thus far tonight a 99 and 100. Pastor Wood, 101?
83 over 28.
Okay.
Wow.
Postscript is not doing well. That's what I need.
Okay.
PS.
I'm going to say that the two of you spend all morning, basically the first third of the day. So I like to think of days as morning, afternoon, evening, like those. That's kind of how I just basically frame it in my head. You spend all morning, hours of the morning, going through various documents, trying to find anything that you can about Merida. Now, it's not that you don't find anything. Of course you do. It's very simple. Like, Merida is in the Yucatan. It's, geographically, it's far to the east of Mexico City. It's in the northwest state. But aside from just like basic locations, you dig into these various texts, and it's all kind of very light. It seems more maybe like you might get more information if you were looking for anything like culturally relevant about the location in Merida. There might be places in Merida that might provide it. Like, and even if you speak with some of the staff working here, asking questions, and maybe a very kindly librarian woman is trying to tend to your needs, but Pastor Wood is having trouble, maybe some translations, or is just being abrasive, as he didn't get his fix last night.
Pastor Wood is the most charming ever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And she just kind of shoos you off. She's like, I've never been there. Beautiful. Go there yourself then. And then kind of wanders away. So very little.
Shaima, she really didn't like you.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I accidentally tore this book, so.
She comes back.
I'm surprised she didn't ban us.
She sees you holding the paper, and she looks at the book, and her eyes go wide, and she snatches both out, and then she just yells like all sorts of like profanity in Spanish, whatever, various words there are, and then bans you both from this place.
Well, Miss O'Brien, I'm not going to translate that for you. I think you understood the gist of it.
I did.
Okay. So we will then turn over to Patrick and Marie. You took a taxi, digging into Marie's money. Yeah, go right ahead.
Real quick on that. Patrick, might it be a good idea for us to perhaps rent our own vehicle, especially if I'm going to want to be sitting for a period of time today? I'm not sure that a taxi will just sit with us for hours.
Okay, we can taxi our way to a place where we can rent one.
Okay. So I think we want to do whatever we need to do to be able to rent a car.
Sure. You definitely remember there being places to do that back at the airport. So it's probably a little bit extra of a task to head out there, go through the process. It's going to dig in. I'm going to say, Patrick, you've kind of run out of cash for a bit. Like, you're trying to probably keep, pinch the pennies. So Marie, we probably dig into a little bit of your money. But eventually we'll say the two of you get it. And you're able to sort of drive back out. And the hours that it took Pastor Wood and Shaima to go through and really just get like basic encyclopedic level info about Merida. We'll say half that time you spent getting the car, the other half you come back, you travel. You want to go to that address? You want to go to Leticia de la Luz's apartment?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So what I said before about you like just looking at the address, you get this feeling it is more of a like apartment based upon the address. Like there's like a number to it, as opposed to like a just a pure street address and a house address. That proves to be true. It's a relatively modest looking building when you approach it. Again, it's on the kind of the interior edge where Kaiokan kind of brushes up against a different neighboring district, and you can see that it's 3 stories, and it's got there's a large pedestrian crowd, people moving about here. It's morning of a Tuesday. It's I think it's like the 2nd of December. You're moving about, and you can see that there are now, as you're staring at it from the streets, there's like some festive decorations that have started to pop up here and there, and some of the windows or some of the outdoor spaces, ledges, and not so much balconies. You don't really see balconies so much as you just see like some of them are just window ledges and things. So I'm gonna try to pronounce this in Spanish, and I apologize to everybody who speaks Spanish. Noche Buenas, I think, which is basically poinsettias. And so you see like some of these like kind of colorful looking like holiday plants. You see 1 or 2 like nativity scenes that have kind of been crudely set up on top of some ledges, and some kind of like paper lanterns and such. As you're looking at some of the doors, the entrances, you can see a few like wreaths and such have been already laid out here and there. But otherwise, it's a fairly kind of quaint looking apartment building. And so as you spend a little bit of time just kind of staring at it from a distance out on the street, both of you can roll a spot hidden if there's anything in particular you're looking at as you're staking out the building, let me know. Otherwise, I can just give you an answer on something.
Marie specifically, because the green car has been a fixture of our last day here in Mexico City. So I would say that that's actually what she's doing, is she's watching kind of the traffic that's going all around specifically.
And I'm staring at Leticia's apartment, looking at the adjacent buildings, seeing what kind of activity is going on besides the decoration.
Gotcha. Okay. Marie, first of all, I'll start with you because you got a extreme success on yours.
72.
Yeah, you have a very clear recollection of that car. You saw it so many times yesterday. You don't see it. Maybe you cruise around the building once or twice. Maybe you park off to the side and just watch. Maybe you all spend like a good 45 minutes to an hour before you go in, just getting the feel for the place. And during that entire window, at no point do you see parked or passing that green 2-door car. And you can say that with confidence, Murray. Patrick, you are looking at kind of neighboring buildings. You're getting the sense of fairly quiet neighborhood. You're seeing the people that are coming and going, or the activity you're seeing a lot of older folks. So you can see there's like little, couples, like elderly couples and such that are moving about. Some of them in the courtyard, like there's a courtyard on the ground, like outside of the apartment itself. Neighboring buildings also look to be a mix of apartment complexes, like apartment buildings, but also like small cafes here and there. And with your one success, like you don't notice any kind of like sketchy individuals. You don't really see anybody doing what you're doing, encasing this place. You don't really see anything kind of out of the ordinary. And the only thing you would probably notice is that there are a decent amount of folks that are actively milling about that courtyard here and there out in front of the building.
It's a regular old neighborhood, Mary. Not much going on except regular activities.
Well, if I were not looking like I've just been shot twice, which I certainly do, and no amount of makeup can take that away at the moment. Maybe you might be able to chat up some of the folks here and see if they've seen Leticia lately?
Sure thing. And I'll walk towards the apartment building.
Okay. So you can see that there are, on the ground, out in front, there is a small courtyard. And you can see there's a couple folks, like I said, that are milling about. Some look to just be like reading. Others look to be kind of gardening here or there. You see a relatively kind of like a rounded woman, like she's, sort of a stocky woman in a floral dress who seems to be talking to an older couple. And it's hard to it's probably hard for you to exactly deduce exactly what they're saying, but you do probably get the sense that it's about money or rent. The specifics of which are unclear, but judging just from body language, it looks like they're just talking maybe rent is due. It's like the 2nd of December, rent might have been due yesterday, that kind of thing. So maybe just logic kind of deduces it. You can see that you can smell coming through the window of a nearby apartment. Someone is baking something and it smells just divine. It's like cinnamons and spices and it just smells absolutely wonderful. And you hear what sounds like an older married couple just bickering over top of that smell through the window. You see a staircase going up to the 2nd and 3rd floors. And that's it. That's all you see. What are you gonna do?
Am I able to make my way to the apartment?
No one's stopping you. No one's stopping you. Nothing's like this. This was freely accessible. This courtyard is freely accessible. The staircase is freely accessible. There's no keys or anything you're going through. It's all fine.
But I'll make my way towards the apartment until somebody stops me.
Okay. You kind of go up to the second floor. You look kind of down one way, down the other. Again, you see a handful of decoration. Maybe there's like on one outside of one of the apartments on the 2nd floor, you see an older woman kind of in a rocking chair, and she's just knitting. You see, as you go up to the 3rd floor, there is a door that's open, but it's kind of off to like kind of your right as you get up to the 3rd floor. And you can see every now and then you see this kind of mustachioed looking, like not heavy set, but muscular man kind of come out, and he's got like this undershirt on and slacks, and he just like chucks some water off of his balcony down to the garden below, and you hear like a split second later someone yell up at him. And then you also, off to the left, you can see the pathway to, judging from you're looking at the numbers, where her apartment would be. And you eventually find it. It is the kind of the last on a run. It's Unit 18, and it's kind of the corner unit of this floor. And you're standing out in front of it, and I can tell you, rolling over your spot hidden, you don't see anything on here. You don't see any kind of mail laying on the floor, like outside. You don't see any splits in the door. Everything kind of just looks really normal.
I pull the matchbook down, the number matching the door number.
And absolutely does. Okay, roll a listen test.
Oh, 90 over 65, but do I have a look? Not enough.
Okay. I'll say this, as you're listening in, it's difficult for you to sort of distinguish the noise from the courtyard and from other parts of the apartment, and just the sounds of maybe like a horn going off, maybe some birds kind of in the trees and the brushes somewhere kind of flittering around, and you can't quite make out what's inside, so you're not sure.
Since I'm here already, I'll just give it a knock.
You knock. A couple beats pass, no answers.
Before I leave, I'll give a twist to see if it happens to be open.
And it, in fact, does turn. And it does seem to be unlocked.
Can't help myself but go in.
Okay.
I mean, what else do you do with a door that opens on its own?
You push inside, and you kind of look around, and it's a modest sized apartment. It's not like enormous or anything, but it's nice, like in terms of size. Like it's a perfectly healthy size. However, very quickly you can tell that the apartment has been ransacked to a degree. You think everything's fairly disarray. Okay, so there's plenty of things that you just sort of looking at look untouched, but there's plenty of other things that aren't. As you start shifting around the room, and in the various rooms, I should say, the drawers are empty. You can see that there's like some photos missing from the wall, but other photos, like photo frames, are missing from the wall. You can see like this bare place where it was taken down, and you can see others are still hanging. You can see that there's some damage here and there, but other places everything looks fine. So it's hard to piece together like off the top of your head, because on the one hand there's missing things and some of it's in disarray, but on the other hand it's just kind of everything. Some things just look totally fine. Give me like an intellect roll. You just want to give me an intelligence roll?
All right, that's my lowest stat at 40.
Not a boy.
It's 27.
Okay, so especially when you look at the drawer, you start to kind of piece together in your head. This looks less like somebody has come in here searching and ransacking and thieving, and more like somebody hurriedly packing, because all the drawers are empty, clothes have been taken. You can see that there are some valuables that are missing, but there's also plenty of other valuables that aren't, and things easy to grab too. So it doesn't look like anyone might actually take it. So like stuff like a jewel, like some of the, like, there's a lot of jewelry that's missing from on top of the dresser, but there's also and then there's like a spot out in the living area with like a little bit of like dust on top of a shelf, but then there's like this space where some kind of square thing might be. But you also see on the shelf below there are some albums, so you think maybe a record player was taken. But as you keep looking around, you also find a very expensive looking camera, and a fancy watch, and like it kind of concludes like you just think somebody came in here to take specific items and leave. You find, as you're looking around, give me a spot hidden actually.
$59 over 51, but I'll spend 8 luck to pass.
Okay. If you spend 8 luck, I'm going to give you a few things. So as you're looking around, you find a couple things. You look maybe you look behind, where things might have fallen on the ground, like under this or under that, or maybe you look in the trash here and there. And I got 3 things to show you. Behind the nightstand, you find what looks to be a poem. It is written, you can see, in English, in fact, and it is written in a handwriting that you recognize. You recognize it because when looking through some of Trammell's testament from Los Angeles, you remember correspondence between Trammell and Jonathan Brooks of Mexico. It was on Lou's Disco's letterhead, and you realize that like this is sort of the same handwriting, and so you seem to have discovered a poem. Let me go ahead and share that with you, so you can read it if you would like. So let me.
Long in poetry. It's like Regency Cthulhu.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Are we yearning yet?
All right. So I'll go ahead and show it with you. Hopefully you should see it. If not, go into the campaign handouts. Okay. So yeah, if you want to read it, go for it.
My beautiful Rosario, your lips a gate to sheer delight, a heaven where I breathe so light. Your teeth, the stalactites on high. Your feet hungers with their rigid sigh. Your face turns now, withdraws its glow. Your name forgotten as you go. Yet newly named, your bright beams cast, like stars that glow in sky so vast. If just one wish my chance might gain, as mystic writes in moonlight rain, I'd wish your smiles would multiply, so I could kiss them as they fly. Signed, JB.
And at this point, I think you would know that JB likely stands for Jonathan Brooks. The next thing you find is in a trash can in the kitchen, and you recognize very quickly the logo for La Paz, because you have it in the matchbook. And you can see it's a flyer for an event from spring, and it looks to be a advertisement for like a broadside handout that you might put on like a bulletin board, or people might kind of put up on various places around the neighborhood. But it's for Leticia de la Luz and Javier Luna and his Grinning Fools. And again, it's from April or earlier this year. And it has that same kind of cursive La Paz logo written across it. It's kind of an Art Deco kind of style to it in a way. And you can see that there's like band players in one corner, and there's a dancing couple above the band, and it just seems to be an advertisement for an event.
This is for April 14th. Is that day passed yet?
Yeah, it's 8 months ago.
All right.
Yeah, we're in December right now. And then the last thing you find is, as you're coming down like this really mini hall between some of the bigger rooms, so the living room and the bedroom, you notice that there are these photos that are hanging on the walls, and there are a couple places where you notice that there's been like something was removed. And you also notice that as you're walking, like you hear your feet crunch, and you see that there's little pieces of glass on the ground. And it's the only real sign of like anything having been broken. And you notice in one of the trash cans here, there's like a broken frame, and also what looks to be like a ruined photo and kind of a busted photo album. And so I'll go ahead and I will share with you the ruined photo. And then I'll let you describe what you see. All right. There you go. And there it goes.
Okay, it's a black and white photo. Looks like there's a woman in the background. It's a portrait shot. And there's a lot of scratches. And then across horizontally is a black slash. And her nose is also black slash. So a lot of it's like been scribbled over.
So definitely it's hard to make a clear identification of the person because of all of like the severe damage to the photo, the scratches and like literal gouges and such here and there. And you can even see there's tiny little flakes of glass kind of left in embedded in the material for the photo itself. And then you can also see next to it, like in this trash can, there is this photo album that's been scratched up here and there as well.
I'll gather all these things.
Okay.
I'll look out the window, see if I can see Marie from here. Give her a wave.
Okay. Marie, you had 3 success. You had an extreme success, so I'm going to say, yeah, you actually look up and you're just keeping an eye out, and at no point does that green two-door come by. Once or twice someone comes by and says something to you because you're like parked on the side of the street, but maybe they offer to sell you something. Maybe somebody is kind of yelling at you to move your car. But no serious trouble seems to happen.
She just speaks English and makes it clear she doesn't understand what they're saying.
And just speaks louder and louder and louder until they just give up. They're like, I can't stand these people. I am waiting for someone. Classic. Okay. While you're
like
watching
PTSD.
We know what we are. Okay, so when you're looking up, this is what I'll say. You see Patrick kind of waving at you. We'll say you side window. You're looking out, and you can see down this alley, right where it meets the street, there's the car, and you wave. And Marie, you can see, but you also notice like there's people going down this alley, like a person on a bicycle or some pedestrians and such. You notice that there is, and I'm going to say extreme success on your spot hidden, so we're going to roll this over. There is a preponderance of black birds that seem to have lined up on the roof, the ledge of the building that Patrick is in. Like literally dozens of them, like in a row, and they're all just kind of there. Now, I would say to most people that probably doesn't really mean much, but to Marie, it might mean a little bit more. But they're just up there. They don't really seem to be doing anything, but they're maybe 10 feet above Patrick's head as he leans out and waves at you.
And I would say that, like, as Patrick looks down to sort of wave at Marie, I think there's a very large windshield on these, kind of vehicles, and it looks like she's looking at you, but it's definitely that she's just sort of lost in thought. And so, you might have to sort of wave vigorously to get her attention, because otherwise she's just sort of like kind of blank stare, just sort of looking off, and it's almost like the pained expression that she's had on her face almost fades for a minute as you're sort of like trying to get her attention. And then she like sort of sees you're waving and just sort of waves back, and she kind of does that thing where you kind of tap your watch, tap your wrist where a watch would be, just to kind of give the sense that that we may need to move things along a little bit.
Take that signal and head back down.
Okay. You head back down. You pass by a couple of folks here or there who kind of do a double take and look at you, but again, no one stops you. But they do notice you. Like, you pass by them in the hall, it's hard for them not to, and they kind of give you like a side glance. It could just be because you're unfamiliar. It could just be you don't look like anyone who's in this apartment. But otherwise, they've moved past. You make it back into the car. No issues. Once more, Marie, you're still looking. You're still scanning. And at no point do you see the green two-door show up. Before we switch over to Pastor Woodensheim, what we'll say is maybe back in the car, you open up, like maybe you carry those albums with you. You kind of flip through, and whatever else you wanted to carry, you certainly could have. Marie, give me... Do you have photography?
No, I did have a previous, I think, Delta Green character that had photography, but Marie does not have photography, unfortunately.
Okay, give me a luck test. Actually, no, don't give me a luck test because your luck's probably pretty low. I'll say this.
Luck is very low.
I'll say this. Just give me an intelligence test.
Okay, that's much better. So I was able to recover.
You're thinking back to your time with your photographer friend on the campus of UCLA back in Los Angeles about a month and a half ago.
The time that we spent in UCLA was like palm tree lined sidewalks, and we were still just learning things, and we had not yet been corrupted. And here we are, sitting in a car with two bullet holes.
You spent time with him in the rain, but that's fine. That's okay. I guess no, you don't even remember his name. You don't even remember his name. I remember his voice, though.
I definitely remember his voice.
Roll the damn check.
Dudley.
It was Dudley. And he spoke like Keanu. And he was all about finding the truth of what he sees. Beauty. How'd you do?
34 under 60.
Okay. You start going through, as I would imagine Patrick's probably driving because of your injuries. You notice that there is similar damage to the one that Patrick described, or maybe he brought with him, to the face of the woman who is, sort of scratched and scraped and gouged. But you can see similar damage has been done to a bunch of photographs inside this album. There's a handful of the photos of which you assume is the same young woman. They're slashed, they're torn, they're folded. A lot of them are scarred in some ways across like the eyes and mouth, the face, significantly. You can see that there are a couple, as you kind of pluck them out of the album and flip over and look at them, a few of them that were defaced, you can see that have like labels on the back. It's like, looks to be like at so-and-so's quinceañera, 1930, and Oaxaca, 1935. So there's like people who are documenting some of these things, but most of them are kind of unlabeled to a degree. And so you also see there are others like that are referencing specific people, like Abuelita. How do you say grandma in Spanish again? It's like Abuelita? Abuela. Okay, I knew it was something like that. And so you see things like that, or Papa 1931. So it's like you can tell it's referencing certain people. But all of the ones that seem to have this young woman in them, and you can track her age, have the face has been disfigured in some way. So,
and we don't at this point know what she looks like, what Rosario looks like.
Not in full. You could have gotten a description of her from a couple different people who have met her, but you haven't seen her yet. And so we'll leave it and let the two of you talk and figure out what you want to do, and we'll turn back over to Pastor Wood and Shima, who literally get thrown out onto their asses in the middle of the street by this 74-year-old librarian.
And Pastor Wood is
biceps.
Translating the decent parts and also framing it as entirely Shima's fault that we got thrown out.
Shima is fully buying that because that looks like, yes, no, that makes sense. I'm sorry, got us thrown out, Pastor. I'm sorry.
Well, it is quite a shame. That information could be vital to this investigation, and if we don't find some way to access it, then who knows, we might just end up in dead ends, so this is definitely a setback.
And her face falls.
Do I think what? That you blundered the entire investigation? No, yes. Maybe just hindered a bit.
Oh.
Well, what do you say we do from here? We've got some time before the evening.
So, Meta, Jeff, I, in my notes have an address that I think is Jonathan Brooks, Rio Tigris, 69.
Nice.
Did I make that note right?
No. That is the presumed address of him. You don't know for sure, but that was on a postcard that you found. So yeah. Yep.
Okay. So don't have to roleplay it out, but I think Shama's gonna recommend that we stake out and do the same caveat that Murray did. Like, you just watch.
I'm happy to stake out. Let's make sure we got matches and lighters and everything first before we go, just in case. Maybe like a gallon of gasoline to stake out. No, let's go.
Okay. So we see maybe Marie and Patrick start driving somewhere elsewhere. Pastor Wood and Shima start driving elsewhere. And the two of you head to, I think it was like 61 Tigris, something like that. I think 64 Rio Tigris. Okay. So the two of you head there, and it is in a kind of a neighboring district. It's not specifically within Coyoacán, but it's not that far away. So you hop in a taxi, you kind of flag one down, and eventually you find yourselves in this actually very, very nice neighborhood within Mexico City. You can see that the building itself that this address seems to correspond to, according to your taxi driver, is a 10-story brick building downtown Mexico City. And you realize it's just a few blocks actually away from the post office that you all had visited yesterday morning. You can see that there's some spaces for parking and such out here, but there's not a ton of cars like lined out. But it is middle of the day, lunchtime-ish, early afternoon kind of time, and you can see that it's not like it's a constant busy stream of people coming in and out. It's a residential building. It's very clearly an apartment building, but it's much nicer in terms of its display than some of the other places. Like, it doesn't quite have the age. You can see there's a lot more places where some like more modernized touch-ups have kind of occurred. So what is your strategy? What do you guys want to do?
Shima's never done a stakeout before, so has no idea of what is done in situations like this, so very much following Pastor Wood's lead.
I don't think we know what Brooks looks like yet either.
No.
No. I think I would go up to the front door and see, like, You said it seems like multiple people live in this building.
To that point, do we know what Leticia looks like?
No, they were just talking about that. That's literally what Maria was just talking about. You guys don't have... You guys don't know what she looks like. You don't know what Jonathan Brooks like. You have no photos of them.
Thank you.
You know that Jonathan Brooks is a white dude. That's one thing you know. Like as Elena described him as kind of like an unimpressive white dude who kind of dresses up, but is kind of a poser and a fake. Right. So
the other known white dude around is the Russian guy. So there's like 2 white guys like running around.
And you're standing next to one.
Yeah. Konovalov, you have heard, is kind of a big dude. Like a big, intimidating, kind of lurching dude is how like Victor Cortez probably conveyed. Definitely seemed afraid of him.
So I've got 2 things then. First, I'd like to look around for any green cars that might be parked nearby.
Okay, roll a spot hidden test.
Uh, 71 under 89.
Okay, you look around and you do a double take at one point because you think you see a green car, but when you look over, you're not sure it's the same model. I think we gave you credit for like memorizing whatever we had in terms of license plates and whatever that would look like in 1936. You take a look at the number, it doesn't seem to actually match up, so it looks like it's just happenstance. There's nothing like that. So you don't see any sign of like that car.
From there, I'd like to go up to the main door and see if like there's any sign that has like the names listed with units or anything like that.
Okay, so you go inside, and it is a fairly nice looking lobby, and you can see that it's not like a hotel lobby, but it looks to definitely be a lobby that has been elevated to some degree. There's beautiful tile floor. There's a couple very elegant columns, some artwork hangs on the walls here and there. You definitely get the sense that this is for clientele that are a little bit more affluent. Not like so much so that it is gregarious, like overly done, but it's certainly different from what you've been in of late. There is a kind of a front desk concierge area, and it does seem near that, like there is an elevator. It does seem like there is somebody currently in attendance of it. When you just do a quick look, you don't notice like a post room, like a mail room. Now that could either be it's hidden, or it could be the type of place where their mail goes directly to the apartment. And since it's a nicer apartment, that might be the case. But you see a man who is slender. He has like almost like a big fluff of hair, a little bit curly, with a couple streaks of gray in it, but otherwise is sort of dark brown. And he is clean shaven, and he is kind of tall and slender. Doesn't really look at all like what you heard about Konovalov or Jonathan Brooks, but he sees you coming in, and he greets you in English, very clear, very easily. "Can I help you, sir? What can I do for you today?"
Well, yes, thank you. I'm Zeph. What's your name?
I'm Oscar.
Oscar. Pleasure to meet you. I'm here to meet with Mr. Brooks. He and I have business about the record studio.
Mr. Brooks, is he expecting you?
Oh, yes, of course.
And he told you to meet with him here?
This was the address I was given. This is Rio Tigres 64, is it not?
You're indeed at that address. However,
I'm sorry, I'm not trying to impose. I just, this is where he told me to meet him. We were supposed to we were supposed to sign paperwork today.
I believe there must be a miscommunication. I don't mean to presume, between yourself and Mr. Brooks. And Mr. Brooks has not been here in some time. He is away. If you, like his other employees, have paperwork or material you wish to leave with me, I will take it as per usual, and I will deliver it as instructed.
You'll deliver it despite him not being here? I just spoke to him on the phone yesterday. I'm sorry. Where is he?
To his apartment. I am not aware of where Mr. Brooks is. It is not my business to know these things. I just tend to the building and ensure that only those who are proved to be up there will go up there.
Oh, no, I completely understand. I'm not trying to impose. I just, this is rather, I know it's not your fault, but it's frustrating. We were supposed to seal a deal. We had a few particulars to go over. You would have happened to know where I could get a hold of him, would you? He called me at my hotel just yesterday telling me to meet him here. Would you have a number I could reach him at?
I'm afraid I do not.
I'm sorry. I understand. Thank you for doing your job. You sure you don't know any way I could reach him?
If you have materials, you can leave them here with me. That has been our standard operating procedure.
Well, no, it's not that. It's that like I said, we have a few particulars we still need to iron out, so we were going to finish the contracts together.
I see. I will make a note, and when one of his people come to collect the next set of information, I will make sure that it has been entered into his mail slot, so that all of that information comes through.
Oh, okay. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for your time. I'll turn and head out.
When
have a nice day.
Do you expect that to happen, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not see you there, madam.
This is my business partner, Miss Oberon.
Travis, very much just like almost hiding behind.
And you're bigger than him, so you're like, it's so awkward.
He is.
To be honest, I am not sure. His associate, Mr. Konovalov, occasionally, with no specific regularity, comes by to retrieve messages here and there, and occasionally you can see he kind of pauses for a moment. Occasionally he leaves messages for me to distribute to other members of Mr. Brooks's staff. Both of you roll psychology test as you hear him and watch him describe this.
That's the thing that I think like everyone's pretty good at, is the whole psychology thing. I think.
Yeah. I rolled a 19 under 77. I'll spend the 4 luck to make it an extreme success.
Okay. How'd you do, Shaima?
Sorry, give me 1 second. 2.
Can I take it back? I don't want to spend the 4 luck anymore.
Nope, you already said
Holy
it.
crap, my Shay, 281.
The universe is getting back for that 100.
Yeah, if you could just roll faster next time so I don't waste my luck. No, I'm kidding, of course.
Thank you for taking your time with that roll. Okay, the two of you very clearly see him like pause, and his face kind of contort into a sense of annoyance, but very professionally, as he is a concierge and he's trying to be very professional about this, and it quickly composes himself. But that would probably lead you to believe that he's not particularly happy with Mr. Konovalov, Mr. Brooks, the various people being their go-between. Like, this is not his job, and he is sort of being used, and you could tell he is not happy about that practice. Like, it's very clear. Very annoyed by it, in fact.
Thank you for passing on the messages. I know that's probably extra to what you need to do here.
My job is to ensure the comfort and safety and ease of the inhabitants of this building. And some tenants require very particular tasks be done. Others are far more easygoing. Mr. Brooks is not one of the latter.
Good at your job. I do apologize for adding to the workload. You know what? I forgot, and I'll reach in my pocket and do something very uncharacteristic. I'll pull out $5 and give him a tip. I've got a $10 spending limit.
Okay.
Oh, big spender pass.
I know, right?
You hand over a $5 tip, and sir, that is very generous of you, but I haven't even helped you. It would not be right if I accept it. And he sort of slides it back across to you. But I'm going to roll over your extreme success. You think this is not a case of him not wanting to take it, but it not being enough. This is a very nice apartment building after all.
Oh, you bastard. You bastard.
I'm going to say, Shaima, I know that you're awkward and such too, but you did roll an extreme success in psychology rolls. So I'm going to say you kind of are getting the vibe of this. Plus, you have a friend who works at a very nice hotel in Arkham, so you probably know about tipping and all that kind of stuff too. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, the broke student.
She reaches into her and pulls out $1.
It's the shoe dollar.
Take $1 out. You put
Pastor Wood gives her a very severe look to put it away. And then I look down at my $5 and
I like to think you take the shoe off and you put it on the desk and you reach in and you pull it out. No offense, but it's probably like oh jeez.
I then look at the bill, the $5
Pastor Wood brought this on himself. I'm not even a little sorry.
It's so good. Okay.
And with the whole flair, Zeph said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm an old man. My sight's not very good. I put on my glasses. That wasn't the..." And I pull out my wallet and I take out $20 and I put it on the table. I have to dig into my cash on this one, unfortunately. I thought that those numbers, they all blend in together. You know, the 5 upside down looks a lot like a 2. And again, thank you for your help. You've been very kind. And I feel a little embarrassed about this whole exchange. Maybe I did misunderstand Mr. Brooks and I wasn't supposed to be here. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to wait at my hotel for him to call again. Please don't tell him I came here and made a fool of myself. I'd really appreciate it.
You see he hesitates and he sees the money on the counter and he looks at the two of you and you can tell he's thinking and thinking. And then he reaches out, he grabs the money and he kind of folds it up and sort of tucks it in. He's like, I have a very busy morning. Perhaps whatever message you would like to write out for Mr. Brooks, you can do it yourself and leave it in the foyer of his penthouse. I'm sure a personal message would be received much better than a mere message scribed out by a concierge. Why don't I... I have some time. I can bring you up very quickly, and then I really must attend to other things.
You really are a very dedicated man. I appreciate it so much. I'm so sorry to impose, but yes, absolutely, that would be wonderful.
Of course,
it very much looks like Shaima is vibrating and wanting to take his hands in both of hers and shake it, and she is stopping herself.
She can't even put her shoe back on.
Because of the glare that Pastor would give about the foot money.
So he smiles and there's I feel like your psychology rolls are very high. He knows what's going on. The two of you know what's going on. I think everyone knows what's going on here. And he leads you over to the lift. He opens it up. He gets on with you because he has to operate it. And small talk. He doesn't talk about Mr. Brooks, just talks about the weather, talks about holidays and all sorts of wonderful things, restaurants in the area. And then he opens up the door and you see there is a small landing area and a foyer, and you can see there is a door right out in front. Now, it's the penthouse. You just went up 10 floors. And there is a small landing area where the elevator gets out, and then a door that goes into the apartment. And he's like, when you are ready to come back down, just go ahead inside. There is a small little intercom. Ring down, and I can come fetch you. And then he goes to close the door, but before he closes like the second door, because he gets the gate, but maybe the second one doesn't come, he says, and please don't break anything. And then the lift starts going back down. We're going to pause. Go over to Marie, go over to Patrick. Last we saw you were in the car outside of Leticia de la Luz's apartment. You were going through the album. What do you guys do next?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the room, was there a record of some sort?
She had a handful of records, it did seem like, yeah.
Can we say I took a couple of those? Maybe we can find a store we can go listen to?
Sure. I'll say that when you take them and you flip through them, I would say that there was a shelf beneath what you presume was probably a record player. It's not unlike what you've seen in actually in Bev's hotel room. And I think Patrick, especially knowing Marie, would know what a record player looks like. And you can tell it's like some records were taken, but these look to be like what was left behind. And so I'll say Marie, being a singer, you recognize really sort of standard fare. Like you see jazz musicians from the US, you see more local musicians, you see some of the records that Bev says was on her hotel. Like all of this, as you flip through it, none of them stand out to you as being like being strange. It's the type of thing that anybody who is a music lover might have.
Sure.
But they were also left behind.
Patrick, I don't know that we've actually seen a picture of Leticia, but just looking at this quickly makes me wonder if she was sort of turning into this new person and sort of leaving behind the things that, I don't know, weren't approved by Mr. Brooks and this new identity. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too much into it.
No, you're definitely onto something. Miss Brooks has a handle on Letizia. There's word that she's not showing her face anymore, so it's hard to even know what she looks like.
Yeah, it's very, very concerning. Did you see if there was like a office for this apartment building or anything here?
I don't know if there's an office, but there was certainly a lady shouting about rent. She could be a manager here.
Okay. And Marie wants to sort of look herself over and see if, like, she wants to see if she looks ill, but not necessarily bleeding. Like, do her bandages seem still covered and whatnot?
Okay. I'll say, no matter what, you look pale, as you lost a lot of blood.
No. And I actually want to work with that.
A transfusion. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of whether or not any of your bandages, in terms of the movement you've done, got some stitches here and there, if any of your bandages need changing, or go ahead and just give me a luck test.
Oh.
Sorry.
Why'd you say luck?
Because that's what it is. I don't think there's a skill that corresponds to this.
So I did decently well, and I'm back up from 0 to 17.
If you would like me to get rid of luck as a spendable mechanic, we could do that. I mean,
oh gosh, no! It's so helpful.
Retroactively be dead.
Under 17.
Okay, there you go. I will say.
Okay, so I'm not currently.
Nothing is bleeding through your clothes. You look very pale. You do. I would say you look kind of like weak and frail, just from the lack of blood. Like it's not like you just haven't been out in the sun. You certainly look like you've had some blood loss.
Okay.
But we'll say the wounds are covered.
Okay. Patrick, so I had an idea while you were up there. I clearly do not look well at this point. Goodness, I would never go on stage looking anything close to this, but I was wondering if perhaps I might use that to our advantage a bit. And here's what I'm thinking, and tell me if this is a dumb idea. I'm thinking that perhaps I try to find a landlord type, let them know that I'm a friend of Leticia's.
All right, sounds good. I can take you right to it. Let's go.
Oh, you haven't even.
I know what she looks like.
Oh, you do. Well, okay, great. Well, a half truth of a story. I'll let her know that I am ill and dying, and would love to get back in contact with Leticia before my final days, and perhaps she knows where she is. That's my plan. Mind giving me a hand out of the car? I really don't think I can do that on my own.
I'll help her out. Lead her to the lady I saw earlier.
Okay, and you find her. She's still out. She's out there. She's like sweeping. It looks like a pathway, like outside of her own. You presume it's her own apartment, like apartment 1, basically, right? And beautiful looking, sort of beautiful garden. We sort of shifted. It's not so much a new scene. It's sort of it's like a reset of the scene. So both of you give me a spot hidden as you start getting out of the car, crossing the street, and heading back into the apartment complex here, or the apartment building, I should say. And let me know how you do.
66, I failed.
Okay.
8 under 72.
Okay. Marie, you get out of the car. You and Patrick, you're midway across this street as you're getting ready to go on to the side of the street where the apartment building's out. And you watch this eruption of these birds come off where they were perched on the roof. You see them just lift up into the sky. You see them swirl around for a bit, like in this sort of that perfect unison, the way that birds creepily do sometimes. You hear the squawking kind of all the way down here, and then you watch as they just veer off and away from this apartment. And as you're staring there watching, you hear suddenly the sound of someone yelling at you, and there is a person who has stopped their car as you are in the middle of the street. This is very much identical to what happened to Patrick last night. Patrick, you look back and you can see there is Marie kind of looking up at something in the distance. By the time you look, Patrick, you don't see anything. And this person in the car is trying to like get Marie, like, get out of the road, get out of the road. But they're being way more polite because, you know, chivalry and all that.
Maria, you feeling unwell? You holding up traffic?
Well, oh my. Did that happen again? Oh, I don't know what is with these birds. Just these black birds just watching us. I don't know why they won't leave us alone.
I think you might be seeing things. There's no birds in the sky.
I find it very hard to believe there are no birds in the sky anywhere in Mexico City, but I take your point. Okay, help me along. Thank you.
Okay. You make it over. You find the woman who, as you saw before, Patrick, arguing with another couple about money. You see her sweeping like this walk pathway up to her apartment. She's got this floral dress on. She's kind of stocky, somewhat short, middle-aged, not old, not young, somewhere in between. Her hair is done up, so she's holding it up. It's not around her shoulders, but you can see like little strands of it are coming out and she's like, you can tell she's sweating. She's been laboring putting this work in. But she sees the two of you approach, and she looks up at you and she says, "What do you want?"
Yes. Pardon me. And she just sort of gestures around to sort of ask, like, if she works here.
And she thinks for a moment, and you can tell she speaks English, but it's like not like instant. And so she's like thinking, boss, landlord.
Oh, and perfect. And Marie will kind of ask Patrick to point towards the room. Rosario. Friend, Rosario. And
okay.
So what Marie will kind of try to convey is that she's very ill.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to get in touch with Rosario. And, you know, just kind of throwing her hands up that she can't reach her.
Okay.
She's trying to find like a forwarding address or something like that is eventually kind of the goal.
Trying to how to get in touch with her. Okay. So yeah, you point up and she nods like, Rosario. Yes.
Rosario.
And we can say that we're speaking just so this isn't awkward between you and me.
Yeah, she's an old friend. I'm ill. I would like to see her before I pass on. It's been a while.
Okay.
Time.
I want a fast talk roll. I'll say, because if you want it, you can take a bonus die because you genuinely look ill. But remember that if you take a bonus die, then you can't necessarily level it up. So it's your choice, but you have to choose now before you roll. You can't be like, let me see how I do on one and let me do on the other.
Shoot. And I have to do fast talk. Oh, no.
You are literally lying.
I know.
Making up a bullshit story. That's exactly what fast talk is.
I always forget that Marie is really good at charm and really good at persuade and really awful at fast talk.
Patrick, if you want to assist in any way before Marie rolls, you can certainly try. If there's anything you want to add.
I've got nothing. I could punch her to make sure she really feels it, but
just turn around and sock Marie right in the stomach.
You like let go of my arm for a second so that I sort of like lose my balance a little bit and just show how weak I am.
Dear God, Patrick. What would Anna think? Honestly. Okay. Elena would probably be okay with it though.
Oh, right. Damn it. I took the bonus dice.
Okay.
But yeah, I rolled an 87 and a 67 and my fast talk is just the base 5. So yeah.
Okay. She sort of smirks at you. And she's just like, you're not one of her friends. I've seen her friends. You don't look like her friend. Neither you. What do you want? What do you want? I'm working.
Trying to find Leticia. She's been home. Where's she?
Oh, Leticia. Rosario. Not Leticia. Rosario.
Yes. Yes, Rosario. We're just trying to... do you have a phone number or anywhere to reach her where her mail's
Go to her fiance. Rich man coming in all hours of the night. They play music. Get complaints from neighbors. Too much noise. They've been gone. They're better now.
White guy?
Like, and kind of like points over at Patrick, because Patrick's a white dude, right? I think he is. Yeah, he's just a white dude from like the Northeast. So the kind of pass, but she's like skinnier though, not as attractive.
Marie kind of like looks over to Patrick a little bit, and then this was a stranger's walking across the street, and so I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you. And she kind of looks to Patrick. I need to sit back down.
Right. She's probably talking about that Brooks fella.
Yeah,
Brooks,
it sounds like
that's it. Go. He a rich man downtown.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
And Marie, in a lot of pain. Patrick, this was a bad idea. I thought, I look horrible. Make use of the fact that I look horrible. But now I just feel worse.
We got something out of it. Before we leave, maybe I can show the picture we found if she recognizes Lady Edel.
Oh, okay. She looks at it. That's her.
Nice thinking.
She just nods. That's her. Rosario.
All right. Thank you, man.
Yeah. She just kind of like waves you off. She seems to be very curmudgeonly.
Sure.
She's a landlord. I just assume all landlords are curmudgeonly. Okay.
Seems fair.
What do you two do next? Do you stay here, or do you move on somewhere else? Do something else? What you thinking? Okay.
Do you think our Victor fella, is he any use to us? We know he's in danger.
Victor Cortez. You guys.
His key. I have his house key.
You want to go back to his house?
I mean, I'm just saying I have his house key. Like, Mr. Price, that is, I have the gentleman's key to his home. I should probably get that back to him.
Well, we know he's in danger. Should we lead people there? Or even talk to him?
No, but maybe we should find a courier who can get him his key back and let him know that his house is, in fact, a target.
You want to investigate this fellow?
Unless you think we should go to his hotel? I don't think so. I think that would be putting him in more danger. Can we call? Can we find someone to call this hotel?
So, I mean, you could try if that's what you're looking to do. Like, we kind of hand-waved it, but the basic impression I got was that you guys told the taxi guy where to go, like what hold, just to go get him a hotel. None of you confirmed that that's what's happened. None of you went with him. None of you made the reservation. You just put him in a cab and told him to go there, and he just kind of did it. So you can certainly try to call that hotel. You don't know whether it's in his actual name, whether he registered under a different name. So there's lots of things. There's a lot of variables in this, but you could certainly try.
I would like to try. Inform the man that his home has been shot up.
Okay. So we'll say that you all drive around. Maybe you find like a post office, you find some payphones, and you try to get like a number for this hotel. While you're doing that, we'll cut back over to Pastor Wood and Shima, who are now outside of the home of Jonathan Brooks. You have the concierge, Oscar, has just closed the lift gates, and you can hear the thum, 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 as the thrumming of the machinery as the lift goes back down to the lobby. And you are standing here in a very small lobby. It's like a very small foyer. It's not very big. There's like there's a little bit of like decoration here or there, but it's a very small landing area. And then there's just the door in front of you. What do you want to do?
I want to check the door, see if it's open.
It is in fact locked.
Do you want to try and lockpick it, or do you want me to try and break it down?
Are those our only two options?
You see absolutely no other way into this from like there's literally behind you, there's the elevator, in front of you there is this door. It's just a landing area. That is it. It's like a buffer zone.
Not even like fire stairs or anything?
No. But you do probably recall there was a fire escape on the building, but you don't have access to it from this room.
Right. Okay, I'll try to lockpick it.
Okay. That'll be a locksmith test, please. There, Pastor. Do you have tools? Because I think you broke your tools. Is that right? Like you gave them to Patrick and then he broke them, something like that.
I never had tools. My lockpicking tool is my boot that I break down the door with.
Okay, so you're not actually locksmithing. Okay, so if that's the case, this is just going to be a pure strength test.
Well, no. I do want to try it.
Wait.
Okay, you actually do want to try to pick it.
Pick it first.
You want to try to pick it. Okay, so since you don't have proper tools, it's going to be a penalty die to it. So locksmith with a penalty die.
I'm going to take 2 boosts to give me 21 instead of a 1.
Okay. Man, you're loading up here. All right.
That is... It would have been a 17, but it became an 87.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Unfortunately, whatever like knife or like maybe you're using it's just not like it's not small and fine enough to get through this. It's a nice home. This is everything's updated furnishings and things like that. So it's not like this old kind of skeleton key kind of thing. Like it's definitely a nicer looking, more modernized door. And it's beyond you. You don't have the tools for it. If Patrick was here, maybe he could do it.
Well, we both know that Patrick was here, he'd fail.
Seeing the failure of this endeavor, I'm gonna try and muscle it open.
Okay, so the two of you are strong enough that I don't think this is going to be an issue in terms of succeeding. So we're not going to make a roll. But as far as you can tell, the lift went up to 1 floor, and you don't see any other apartment. You're pretty sure this is the whole. There's only one apartment on this floor, and it's his. If you would like to roll, a luck test. What are your lucks? What are your luck
41.
scores right now? 41?
Sorry, it's one of my 45.
Okay, Pastor, pretty close. Pastor Wood, go ahead and roll a luck. You're the lower one. Roll a luck test, and this is just
45 this session too. I spent 4.
Oh wow!
I was healthy luck.
38 under 40.
Okay,
Nice.
the two of you smash into it a couple times, but you probably can knock it open first try if you really wanted to, but you're kind of trying to like just sort of jam it, see if you can kind of break the handle and just sort of push the door open that way, and you're able to. And you think you keep it relatively quiet to the point where you don't think it's going to cascade down through the lift shaft to the floor below. Nonetheless, anybody looking at this door is going to tell that it was forced open. Like that is just like not a thing that is going to be able to hide. But it doesn't make a ton of noise, and so you push it open. And when you push it open, you see that it opens into a living area. And you can see that there's like a pair of sofas in front of you. There's a cabinet radio. There's a very high-end looking record player cabinet kind of off to the side, and some shelves and such where you can see there's records. And as you stand in the doorway, you can see right in front of you there appears to be some mail on the ground. And then you can see that there is like a folded up couple bits of notes that looks somewhat like the stationery that you saw on Concierge Oscar's desk down in the lobby. So, like, he's mentioned that he has to deliver messages from time to time. And other than that, you're welcome to roll spot hidden. But you see, like, a stack of mail. You see the various furniture. You see, like, little halls and doorways kind of go into other parts of the apartment. And it's very quiet. You don't hear any voices. You don't hear anyone screaming that you're breaking in. You don't hear any music playing, anything like that. It's very quiet.
Miss Oberon, I suggest that we split up and cover more ground. We only have so much more time before they start to wonder how long we're taking to write a letter. And what I would do then is I would take the knife that I was just using to try and pick a lock, and I'd go to the sofa and grab one of the pillows, just cut a hole in it, flip it inside out, and turn it into a bag. And then put all that mail in the bag and just hand that off to Shaima and cut another bag open just so that we can just go through and just shove everything in there as fast as we can.
I'll take the makeshift bag and go to the bedroom and do a search there. I just rolled as well, and it was an 8 under 78.
Okay, so you head in, so you can see there's a couple of doors coming out of here, and if you're specifically looking for a bedroom, you're in a living room. There's a couple windows on one side, there's one window on the other, and then there's like a door with a raised panel door that you can see is partially open. There's also an opening. There's no door, it's just an opening in the wall. So you kind of peek into where the door is creaking open, and you see the bedroom. And it's like a suite, so it's a master bedroom. So you slip inside, Sham. And with your, you said an 8? Is that what you said?
That's right, 8.
Okay. 7. Here's what you see. First, you see that everything's very high end, right? This all looks to be well furnished. You can see very clearly this bedroom is furnished for 2. So you can see there's like 2 lamps on either side of the bed. There's 2 side tables. You can see as you peer into this closet area, very nice walk-in style closet, right? You can see there's clothes. It's half full of clothes for a man, half full of clothes for a woman, very clearly. The walls are bare, though. You don't see anything hanging from them. There is an attached bathroom, like a master bathroom, on the same side of the wall as the closet. You peek inside, and you start going through there. And that's when you start noticing a few other things. You notice in the garbage can, there are all sorts of this crumpled up wax paper wads. And you can see they're stiff with some kind of orange, kind of flaky substance. And as you're pulling them off, Shama, as you're pulling some of these wads off and kind of shifting through it, maybe getting ready to dump the garbage can into the sofa, you realize like there's also like at the bottom, there's like weeks old like used condoms kind of filled up in the trash can as well, that that you kind of very clearly see. The other thing you notice in here, and then let me just give you everything and you tell me how you react. In the medicine cabinet, like you peel away like the the door. There's like a mirrored door, cabinet door opening. And you look inside, and it has, a lot of the usual things that you'd expect to find in a medicine cabinet, nothing out of the ordinary. But then one thing catches your attention, Shima. You see a relatively clear bottle of liquid. And it doesn't look like nectar. You've seen a vial of nectar before, so you're fairly confident it's not. But you're looking at this, and like maybe you sniff it, and it's not water, it's not alcohol, but it has an odor to it that you think it's probably a drug of some kind, though you would need to make a roll to try to be able to identify it. And so that's what you find in your search of both the bedroom and the bathroom and the closet. Those are all the things you find. So how does Shima react, and what does she do with all of that?
She's just gonna take some toilet paper or like a handkerchief or something, and take that like waxy paper from the trash can and try as much as possible not to touch the condoms, but scrubbing her hands like really aggressively after that. Going to the clear bottle, I would love to make a roll to see if I know what it is, but okay. I'm instinctively checking for that mossy smell I know is there with nectar.
Okay, so I'll say so two things. First of all, the bottle doesn't have that smell, but as you're removing some of those wadded up pads that have like the kind of orange stain to it, like I know you're trying desperately not to touch the other stuff in the garbage can, but as you pull it out, like you definitely get the lingering smell. You think that some of what was in these pads might have been nectar. It's older, it's crustier, it's not in a vial, so it's dried up in some way, or it's kind of become flaky a bit, and it's stiffened some of the wax pads. But you think that might have been nectar, or might have been used to clean up nectar, and not entirely sure. In terms of the liquid, ideally I would want a pharmacy or a medicine roll. I'd also take a biology roll, but I would need a higher difficulty success on that to be able to identify this.
Pharmacy or medicine?
Pharmacy is a science, so it would be science subcategory pharmacy.
Right. Which I don't have.
I don't know if any of us have that.
Most people probably don't. Medicine I would take too, if you have a medicine. If you have a medicine score.
No, I have one knowledge of pharmacy.
So whatever.
What do you have? Do you have anything for bio? Okay, so it's the type of thing that Bev is probably best suited to identify.
Yeah. So I'll just she maybe has drinks, but she does have a whole lot of knowledge about drugs, so she just puts her way in. Mentally decides to ask someone else about it later.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's look over at Pastor. So Pastor, you come in.
Sorry, one more question. Are there any? You said there were nothing on the walls, but is there like a photograph of a couple that might be in this room or anything?
No.
No pictures of people at all.
No pictures whatsoever. No photographs on the. There's no like stand photographs. There's nothing hanging from the walls. No photographs at all.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pastor Wood, so last we saw you had cut open and vandalized this innocent man's sofa, and you're using. Hey, you don't know.
You know.
I can't even get through it. He's not a good dude. You've got a pillowcase bag basically. You put all the mail and notes and stuff in there. You're still in the living room.
Are everywhere in the living room.
You see Shima move off and start investigating the master bedroom suite. So, what do you do?
I would like to do a sweep of everything that she's not going for, like just my half of the apartment.
There's more to the apartment. Like it's not just these two rooms. It's a penthouse, so there's other rooms and such.
Office study would be nice. I would have a priority on two things. First would be seeing if there's any nectar in the apartment. Second would be seeing if there's any cash in the apartment, because I dug into my reserves here.
You're a little light.
But I would be like upending everything. Like I am trying to do a thorough search.
$4. I don't know why you need more money.
It's gonna get you forever. Go ahead and give me a spot hidden test as you start in the living room and work your way deeper into the apartment. As Shaima hung left, but you get the sense just from what you saw in terms of the layout of the apartment, and more than likely that there's more rooms further, and then eventually maybe a balcony patio kind of area too. So tell me how you.
I didn't roll as well as Shaima. I rolled at the same time. I rolled a 72 under 89. I will, however, spend the luck to make it a hard success. I don't know why I'm spending so much luck in cash today. It's not like me, but it's what I'm doing.
I know.
You're
I feel
so out of character. Like you're schmoozing people and like being nice to them and handing over money.
Bringing out the best.
I was sick this week and it's messing with my brain. It must be like bacteria that eats brain cells.
All right. Look, so we'll start first in the living room as you're ripping through some stuff. There's the sofas, there's this cabinet radio, there's this high-end record player cabinet. There is a shelf that has a bunch of records. Benny Goodman in his quartet, the Louis Armstrong in his orchestra. You got Tommy Dorsey stuff. You got a lot of stuff that seems to not just be like local, but instead you can see that there's a significant influence of like U.S. jazz, American jazz kind of coming down. None of it, as you're going through these, stands out in terms of like having Laetitia de la Luz on it. None of them show Javier and his Grinning Fools. You don't see those names. It's all, I'm not sure how up on music knowledge Pastor Wood is, but none of it rings a bell relative to the names of suspicious bands that you've heard thus far. In this room, however, you do notice that there are some stains on the carpet. They're fine, and they're orange, and you're pretty sure that they were nectar. Now, if you get down on your hands and knees and you whiff a little bit, you definitely get that very faint smell. Maybe your hands start to shake a little bit. But overall, you don't see anything like liquid in here. Push a little deeper. You hear Shaima is kind of, at one point, maybe Shaima goes, gross, whatever, as we know she's in the bathroom at that point. And you continue further into the apartment. There's a little hallway, kind of this walking path. You see a kitchen, and you see another doorway in this hall. When you open up the door, it's just a closet. It's got cleaning equipment, a broom and dustpan. You can see there's some cleaning chemicals, nothing out of the ordinary. And then you push into the kitchen. When you look in the kitchen, you notice when you look around, it's a fairly minimal looking kitchen. There's you can tell there's not appliances. There's not a ton of those. There's a stove. There's an icebox. There's a blender that looks dirty to you. I would say you can tell that there's been stuff in it. You can see that there is some bread off to the side, and just looking at it, you can tell there's a bunch of mold growing on it. So it's probably been sitting there on the counter for quite some time. So you have this dirty, crusty looking blender. You've got nectar stains on the ground, and you've got this moldy bread, probably giving you the feeling that maybe someone hasn't been here in a while. You also can look out from where you're at, and you can see that there is a door letting in some light that seems to go out onto a patio, an outdoor patio. And something dawns on you a little bit, though, as you walk through this kitchen onto your and you're looking outside. You look to your right, there's this cabinet area. You kind of go back out to the hallway for a bit, and you look back towards the living room and how far it extends to the edge of the building. And the kitchen doesn't extend that far. And then you look at the kitchen again, you look at the hallway, and you get the sense that something's missing. There's a chunk of space missing. You don't see, somewhere in this hallway, you would think, looking at the kitchen
on all the walls.
And there's definitely a hollow point at one point. It's so the kitchen's in the middle in terms of the entranceway. To the left of that is where the that kind of cleaning closet is, but it's to the right of it. There's so much space on the wall, and there's nothing there. But there's no reason for it not to be. There's no access to that for the kitchen, an access to a pantry or anything like that. You don't see any entrance whatsoever. It just seems like this dull, null space. in the apartment that doesn't quite add up to you.
I can't find the access. Like I'm looking for a secret door and I don't find anything.
You do not find it. So I'm giving you. So at this point, Shima, you've explored the master bedroom, suite, closet and bathroom. Pastor Wood, you've given a look over the living room, the hallway, and the kitchen. Saw a couple things in the kitchen you can follow up on if you want, and then you know that there's the outdoor to the patio, and you have not found access.
Yeah, I want to go into the living room then and grab something sturdy, like a table leg or a metal lamp or something along those lines, something that could be used in a club-like fashion. And I want to go and I want to start tapping on the wall again and try to find the studs.
Okay.
And then I want to start bashing between the studs.
Okay. Sure. So I'm going to say Shima comes out of the master bedroom as you're picking up a floor-to-table lamp in your hand, like a club. And Shima, you're carrying your little pillowcase bag, and Pastor Wood has his pillowcase bag. And you see him kind of messing around with stuff.
Well, if you need something broken, I can probably do it.
I'm quite capable of breaking things on my own, but I appreciate that. Just start bashing the wall.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
So noisy.
So you do? You can help?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna help.
So the two of you start smashing and bashing at the wall. And are you trying to be quiet again, or are you just saying hell with it at this point?
I like cough as I hit.
It's like Last Crusade. You just wait for the stamp to come down. Stamp, as Oscar stamps some mail or something. Okay.
Yeah, I would not be going full bore, but I don't know how I could actually do it quietly. How about that?
Fair enough. Okay. All right. And I will say you haven't fully explored the space, but you just explored the inside. You start smashing on the wall.
I'm just going to say that there's a door on the patio that just takes us right in.
There might be.
It's too late. I'm committed.
It's too late. You start smashing. Okay. And you do, in fact, eventually put a hole in this wall, this plaster. And what you see is a very, very dark space. I'm assuming one of you maybe has a flashlight or something. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Or a lighter,
I at least have a lighter.
Zippo or something. Okay. You look inside, and I'll say you make like a window. You don't maybe rip the whole door down just yet, but you got a little window, and you hold up a lighter. You hold up a light, and you look inside. And what you see is a finished room that's extraordinarily dark. It's got a wooden floor, very nice, like wooden floor. You can see that there is a brick wall on the right, which you know is the exterior of the building, and then a brick wall on the left, which you would know abuts the kitchen. There's a wall over here, and then you can see that there's like another wall on the opposite side that's like half plaster, half brick. But the brick, just looking at it, looks kind of jagged, and the masonry doesn't look quite right. And as you're holding up the light, you can see where that brick is on the opposite side from the hole that you just put in the wall. There are these little metal latches. It occurs to you, perhaps, Pastor Wood, that might be a hidden door, and you are looking at the hidden door from the inside.
But now I know where it is, and I will go coordinate around. This is all according to plan.
Okay. So as you put the broken lamp back down, there's plaster all on the floor.
I'm holding on to that. I put it in the pillowcase.
Okay. Shima, do you go with him?
Presumably, I have also seen the door.
Yeah. I should say that inside the room, by the way, you see what looks like a writing desk, what looks like some weird freaking marble altar of some kind, for lack of a better description. It's very dark. You don't have great light yet. And some weird ass freaking sketch on the wall of, you think it's like a landscape And there's all sorts of shelves in here with books and things as well, and like stacks of correspondence, like singular letters. Like there's maybe a rock sitting on top of them, like a paperweight. It definitely looks like a work area, like an office.
Yeah, no.
With an altar.
For a few reasons, not the least of which is Shima's curiosity drive, she's gonna go with.
Okay, so we'll say the two of you push to the kitchen. Again, Shima, it's a couple the minimal things that you immediately see: the nasty, moldy bread and a dirty ass looking blender. And you go through the door. You can unlock it from inside, out onto the patio. Let's cut back first, though, to Patrick and Marie. Last we checked in with you, you had were driving over to the post office, and you're trying to call the hotel where you sent Victor Cortez. What are your luck scores currently?
17.
24.
Marie, go ahead and give me a luck roll.
62.
Okay. So you
First hotel we call. It's where he is, right? Of course.
No.
That's what that rule.
I'm giving you all credit that you know specifically like what hotel you sent him to. It was more a luck of whether he's willing to answer the phone. So we'll say you call a hotel. You hear the front office answer. There's no way you would have had a number for him specifically, and this is more that you call the hotel, you leave a message, or like they forward it to the room. Not even all hotels even have phones in rooms yet, so it depends on the hotel itself. And you hear the front office answer in Spanish, and asking you, like, can we help you? Very simple. I would say both of you can understand that simple thing of like, what can we do for you? And so what do you say?
Hi, hello. And Marie puts, big smile, phone voice. Yes, hello. I'm wondering if you could connect me with Victor, please. He arrived yesterday.
And so did you and you ask for Victor, and they say, you see there's a shift in voice, and as you, because are you speaking in English or are you speaking in Spanish?
I only have a 6 in Spanish, so I think I'm speaking in English.
Okay. And occasionally you drop it in like a Spanish word just to flex and show like, no, I'm one with the people.
Yeah, it's just like, hola.
Classic like... Marie. You're the worst. Marie is becoming the worst. Okay, so you drop occasional Spanish words every now and then. And he, as you trying to ask these questions in Spanish, maybe he's just like, I speak English, ma'am.
Thank you. Yes, Victor. He arrived yesterday.
Do you have a last name for the party that you're trying to contact?
He just we met yesterday. He said his name was Victor. He arrived yesterday and said that this is where he would be staying and that I could call here to reach him. I apologize. He didn't give me his last name. And like I know his last name, but I know he was trying to be, a little. So it's not that I forgot. It's that I'm just trying to do the I just met him. He said that I could call him. He said this is where he was staying.
Okay. He says, I am sorry, madam. I will need to know a last name of the party there are. Victor is a very common name.
And Marie just sort of looks over at Patrick.
Is there a problem?
And she just sort of like puts her hand over the phone. He didn't give his last name? There's more than one Victor there. He was very scared.
You didn't get his name, really?
No, I know. Okay, fine. I'll just give his name. So she gets back on the line. I could be wrong. I think maybe his name was Cortez.
One moment, madam. And you hear him kind of ask, like, you're as he says something to someone nearby, and he comes back to you. He's like, I will connect you to his room. And there's like a little like operator exchange type of thing, like, and then you hear like a ring, and then no one ever picks up. And then a couple beats pass, and eventually you hear the voice of the man again. And he says, I'm sorry, madam, no one answered in his room. It is possible he went out for lunch?
Oh, yes, of course. If you could be so kind as to maybe take down a message for him, is that too much to ask?
Of course. Well, what is the message?
The message is, I have your key.
Oh, of course, yes. And you are?
Marie.
I will tell Mr. Cortez that Marie has his key, and he will understand what this means?
Yeah, he will understand, yes. I might need to leave can I leave a number?
Of course, yes. Whenever you are ready.
And so she'll give the number to the hotel.
Okay. To your hotel. Okay. To Casa de los Sueños.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, very good. Is there anything else I can do for you?
No, I don't believe so. I was, and he didn't really seem to give any identifying information about Victor, so she'll just continue to be friendly and just say thank you so very much.
You are very welcome. Good day. And click. Okay.
And she'll adios.
Yes. Adios. Very good, madam. Very good. The phone clicks. Just the word. It's so loud. Someone walking past in the street looks over at Marie, shakes their head, and keeps walking. Okay.
What looks over to Patrick. I don't know that I'm feeling very well. Would it be okay if we went back until dinner time?
Yeah, listen to that. Sounds like you couldn't get a hold of him. We can head back and wait.
No, at least he didn't answer in the room anyway. But thank you. At least we have a car now to get to dinner later. So we'd like to go back to Casa de los Sueños.
Sure, no problem. You have your car, you head back. As you do, both of you, please give me a spot hidden test as you get back to the hotel.
Another fail on this one.
Jeez, terrible.
I gotcha. 20 under 72.
Okay, as you are driving around, maybe you look for a place in the street to park, and then you realize that there is a sign, maybe in Spanish, and or maybe it has like a little image drawn of like an arrow down an alleyway on the side of your hotel, and there's like parking for like hotel customers. Like there's a little lot behind, and so you turn down it. And Patrick, you're driving, so maybe you're just too busy driving to notice this. But as you pull into this lot behind the hotel, and you can see maybe there's like an open entrance to the back where like the kitchen staff and such are. Marie, as Patrick parks, pulls to a stop, turns the engine off. You notice a very familiar car in the lot, just a couple spots away. There's a green 2-door. You look at the license plate. Pastor Wood got it. Maybe he told you some of the digits and such. And as far as your recollection of Pastor Wood's observation goes, it's sure as that license plate looks accurate. But when you try to peek into the vehicle itself, you realize the windows are up and there's no one inside.
Patrick, that's the car.
I think I recognize it. You said he ran into your assailant. Is there any visible damage?
To the car? Oh yeah, that's actually a good point. That's another thing you would recognize, Marie. Is like when you're double checking everything, you see on the front side, on the driver's side, there's some damage to like a headlight maybe into the front grille that corresponds at least with what maybe Shima. Because I can't remember if Marie. I think Marie had been knocked out before that happened, but maybe Shima conveyed that later, especially to you, Patrick. You and her debriefed each other that night. So yeah, so this does look like that car.
You're right, Patrick. That there's the damage right there.
What's he doing in this lot? He's not a member, is he?
Well, if he's been following us around as much as it appeared, maybe he knows that we're staying here and he also got a room here?
Let's hurry back. Bev is still in there.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you're so right. Please give me your arm. And she's resting quite heavily on him as we attempt to rush upstairs.
Two of you head back inside through the courtyard, which is filled with people. Lunchtime, people bring drinks, very small lunches, nothing heavy. You race up the interior of the stairs. There's no lift, so you're like grunting each time you go up every step.
Oh, ow, oh, ow.
Both of you roll a listen test as you come up to your third floor.
$31 under 70.
Okay. Excellent. Marie?
3 under 60.
Okay. Both of you, looks like both of you got hard or better. So both of you, as you're coming to your run of rooms, you hear from Bev's room the sound of a man's voice. And I'll say, because you rolled really well, you also hear the sound of Bev's voice. It sounds like they're having a conversation.
Are these doors locked at all?
That's kind of up to you. Like, they can lock if you want them to lock.
See if we can just open up Bev's room at all.
You push open the door, and you see there is Bev sitting up in her bed. And you can see, having pulled up a chair and sitting at the foot of her bed in a chair, is a heavy-set man, Mexican. He's got a slight 5 o'clock shadow for his mustache and beard. And he looks a lot like the man that Pastor Wood described as being in that 2-door green car. We're going to cut from there to Pastor Wood and Shima, who have just pushed out onto the patio of this Brooks's penthouse apartment. Now, when you get out here, you realize that the patio itself is dirty, and you notice that there is a absolute preponderance of bird shit everywhere. You can see that there is like a patch of like this wood planked rooftop, and what looks to be, as best you can tell, and Pastor, you might, since you worked in the rural areas of America, coops and pens for birds. You can see some, it's just like you see unfinished wood, you see chicken wire, and you can see each of these contains a latch door. All of the doors have been left open, and there are no birds inside. What would you like to do?
I would try to see if like there's any like writing material near them or anything like that. If they are messenger pigeons, maybe they've got like a little desk out here. I don't know.
Okay, you don't see anything immediate, but if you want, you can roll a spot hidden, because sun height long. Roll a spot hidden. Long's allergic to birds.
54 under 89.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So
yeah, 54. I'm sorry.
Okay, so you go over by the patio coops and stuff, and you're looking around for any signs of like a writing desk, utensil, or even like a clipboard, slate kind of deal. Nothing. You don't see any signs of papers. But as you are looking around, you're getting a whiff of the odor of these things, but you're also noticing in some of the pens, in some of these little coops, there's what looks to be, maybe it's a start when it happens, a fingernail is the first thing you see. And you kind of cock your head over a little bit more, and you see there's like some brush and some debris. You kind of wipe it off, and you see the fingernail connects to a finger, which then connects to a finger bone, and it looks like there's a chunk of flesh at the end of one of these bones that has just a fingernail on it and a bit of flesh, but the rest of the finger has been stripped of its flesh. And you notice that that is not the only one of these, and that there's at least a dozen or so similar sightings, some with different degrees of flesh, some with different degrees of bone, but it certainly looks like there are at least a dozen or so fingers kind of scattered about you all over the place within these pens.
Well, that's not normal bird food. Yeah, I'll grab my handkerchief and I'll start putting some fingers in the pillowcase for further study later.
Okay, Shima, what are you doing as he starts pulling out? And you'll see it too. You'll see as he pulls the finger and drops it into his pillowcase.
Can I immediately tell if they're man's hands or like manicured ladies' hands or anything like that?
Sure.
Yeah, I'll hold one out
Is
for
there
her
any
to
way
look
to
at.
tell difference?
Yeah. If you're looking at it, if you collect them all together, taking a look at it, you find a little somewhere between 12 and 20. There's a few that are in chunks, and so they could be part of the same finger, but there's probably at least 12 different fingers in here, probably more than that, and then they're so far gone that you think they could have been ripped apart. In terms of the ones that actually have some flesh and skin, you can tell just from skin tone, some look to possibly have been from maybe the same person, just in terms of just the look of the finger, and maybe one's like a ring finger and one's like a middle finger. There definitely seems to be a couple most of the fingers in here look to be men, like male fingers, but you do see that there are some more slender fingers that look characteristic of a woman. Yeah. The other thing I'm going to say, Shima, as you're peeking at this, you notice, and you're looking at some of the fingers as you're kind of pulling them out from each of these pens, these coops. You notice that in some of the wooden sections of these pens, you can see that there have been some strange symbols kind of carved in here and there. Do you have a cult? And Pastor, you can, if you have a cult, you can of course roll it as well.
I think I
have
do.
5 occult.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a 50.
Go ahead and roll a cult, Shima. As you take a look at.
Yeah, take 2 audience dice to make it a 70 because I really wanna.
Of course.
I really wanna get this. 45 under 70.
Okay. The symbols you're seeing, they don't match up in terms of like the exact depiction that you saw like in Savannah and other places. But you've read enough occult books and anthropological books here and there that you definitely are getting the impression that these aren't random. You're getting the impression that somebody was specifically carving these symbols in. And you think, if you had to sort of hazard a guess without knowing for sure, you think that they're casting spells on the birds that within. Whether it's something that kind of placates them a bit, perhaps, while they're in the pens.
What the hell?
Yeah, she's gonna say that out loud to Pastor Wood. And then say, do you have any idea what kind of birds were even in these pets? Maybe that can let us know what kind of spells they were trying to cast on them.
Well, I'm not an ornithologist, but I don't believe even an ornithologist could figure out what kind of bird was in here just based on their shit.
There are feathers and such as well. If you wanted to try to identify, I'll take the ideal roll is a zoology roll, which I don't think any of you have, but I will also take biology or natural world, if you have either of those. Different degrees.
I might as well, you know what, like, whatever. If I can
take a feather back to Bev.
If I can take one on natural world to make it a 20,
sure.
Let's just see. Oh, sorry. Let's just see. 19.
Okay.
Which is a success with my out of 10.
Yay.
19 under 20.
So, obviously, you can't be 100% certain unless you see the bird itself. But with that roll, I will say that you collect several feathers. All are black or very, very dark, like kind of like a dark blue, but they're all black. You're fairly certain then that they're part of like the corvid family or something like that. Maybe a grackle, maybe a crow. You're not entirely sure. A zoology roll is what you would need to specifically identify the species, but you kind of know a basic family. You know that these are not birds that are typically kept as pets, so this is very, very odd. They're also, not birds that, like the size of the coops and the pens and such, you would probably peg around 50 or so are kept here, or were kept here at some point. And the other thing I'll give you both, because you're both here, you both have decent spot hidden, you've been looking at these fingers, these symbols, you notice that some of the bird shit, some of the feces is very, the color itself seems like they're either unhealthy or they've eaten something strange. And it's at that point, Pastor Wood, that you start feeling in your nostrils this sort of like mossy smell begins to kind of tickle away at the filaments, and then you can sort of feel a little bit of water in your tear ducts, and it occurs to you that it's possible there might have been nectar in here, or there might even still be residue of nectar in here, like that the birds have been getting fed both fingers and nectar.
What a strange diet. I'll collect as many fingers as I can find, collect a good amount of feathers as well.
Yeah.
Put them in the pillowcase.
Can I try and copy down some of the symbols into my notebook?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
While she's doing that, I'll look for the secret door.
And I'll say, because you've seen it from the outside, you do notice that there is a space that looks, as you know where to look for. It has been kind of walled up. You can actually see the bricks weren't fitted properly on this side, not tight enough, but you know from viewing it from the other side that there was a latch. And so you kind of like shift and maneuver it and kind of put your shoulder into it a little bit, and it kind of just creaks open at that point. And you hear like the metal of the latch kind of flip down as you do. And as the door opens up, light from outside floods in, the sunlight of the day, and you get a much better look at what's inside here. You can see that, again, finished room. One wall appears to be an altar, fairly simple, but definitely made of polished marble of some kind. You can see that there's a very expensive looking writing desk. You can see that there's a chair on wheels. You can see there's a bookcase. You can see that there are all sorts of papers and such that have been set atop the writing desk. You can see that on the altar there appears to be a album, like a record album of De La Luz, along with, this probably is where your hand starts to shake, a single dose vial of nectar, and you can see that it is stoppered. and what looks like a few half-melted candles. All of them are unlit. And then as like you hear Shaima like scratching away outside with, a pencil or whatever on her paper, you look up and you can see above the altar on the wall with a mix of what looks like charcoal, and you think, based upon the coloring, nectar being used as like an artistic material. There is a mountain, this landscape of a mountain. And maybe that wouldn't seem too odd, but there's also these various symbols and shapes that have been slathered all around it. Some words here and there. And you notice that on one side of the mountain, the ridges and slopes, as you're watching it, as like the light, your eyes adjust to the light in here, you see that the slope itself is not just a slope, but there is a giant fanged maw. And that's where we're going to go ahead and stop, and we'll pick up on that next time.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
Wow.
Guys,
I will not drink the nectar. I will not drink the nectar. I will not drink the nectar.
We'll roll a sand test for that when we get back.
I do not believe you.
Roll a sand test. Gotta roll a sand test on that. So there you go. Oh, sorry, zombie.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just finishing up. Yeah, so you're gonna roll a sand to see if you can resist this, because that's what happens when you're addicted, and you are. You're an addict.
Like addicted is a very strong word, and it just it's like a heavy preference is more like I feel like I'm at.
Mm-hmm,
Sure. Just like murder is a very strong word.
You can stop
It all depends on context.
context.
Context is
You're
important.
so full of crap. All right.
Oh
Let's
my
go
gosh.
ahead and close it down, and let's go ahead and do our plugs, and let's get the hell out of here. So let's start, as we always do, with Steven listening to Maitre tell us where we can find her on the internet. Go ahead, Maitre.
I am wanting to play for another 20 minutes, but since we can't do that, I instead will tell you I am multi-plays games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic content that what you guys say centers the GM and player experience.
Here you go. There you go.
And that's me.
Phenomenal.
We just
Fantastic.
said what you say.
Yeah, we just copied you. We're not creative. Okay, links are in the chat too, and if you're listening to this or watching this later, just check the notes and you'll find the links in there as well. Steven, what's up?
Nothing much. How about you?
Nothing. You got anything going on?
Oh, that's what you meant. My bad. Yeah, I'm working on creating a little project called Huckleberry. It's a Weird West RPG. It's a lot of fun to play, if I do say so myself. It comes out August 1st, which is coming up hella fast. Are we still saying hella? I'm going to say hella.
Sure.
And if you want to play it, you can join the Lollygagger Discord. When you give a thumbs up to the rules, click on the little cowboy hat as well, and you'll be a playtester. You can sign up for events. It's a busy end of the month for me, but I'm going to be putting up more events at the beginning of July. So come join the Discord, get to see all the cool handouts that Jeff makes for us and gives away, and then play test some games while you're at it.
Cool. Right on. And again, links everywhere. Come hang out with us, etc. As for our next games, next up we got Monday. You can see a few of us here playing through some Fragged Empire, space sci-fi shenanigans. Tuesday, Steven hops back into the GM seat, runs through some Frontier Scum, Acid West craziness going on. Crazy nonsense going on in a very wet and zombie-like town. Thursday, we should be back to Simbaroom. Friday, Delta Green. And then next Saturday, we'll be back with more Call of Cthulhu. Obviously, check out the YouTube page, Adventures in Lollygagging, for all of our games, past, present, not future. That's weird. But that's about it. We're gonna raid our buddies over at the Tales of Myth and Mayhem, who are playing some Vampire the Masquerade. They just started it up today. So let's go join them. Have a great rest of your night. And have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see y'all later. Bye bye.
I'll be seeing you.